Hi, I'm Daniel Fisher, doing a demonstration here for the Music Farm. This is the XW-P1 Performance Synthesizer from Casio. This is Casio's first professional synthesizer in 20 years, and it is just the spearhead of things to come. This is a new beginning for Casio, and the performance synthesizer is very exciting in that it has lots of layering capabilities. For example, there's a solo synth on this that can have 6 simultaneous parts for a single monophonic synthesizer, and it is fat, for example. And the reason it's that fat is that you have 6 separate layers and you have drawbar control over each of those layers. So for example, I can pull these down and I can show you just the bottom layer, then the next layer, then the next, then the next. I can even bring in noise, and I can even bring in external audio, and the external audio can be pitch shifted. External audio can run through the effects. So there's just a lot of power there, and just incredible fatness for something that's a monophonic synth. But then we have something called a hex layer, and a hex layer allows you to have 6 polyphonic, full-range musical instruments, pretty much everything you would expect from the extended general MIDI set, plus much more. All your stereo pianos, triple strike, electric pianos, but you can layer up to 6 of these things. Each of them has their own voltage, VCF, VCA, comes with ADSRs for each of those, and then all 6 of those parts can sum to a single what we're calling a total filter, which can be a multi-resonant filter, so you can have band pass, high pass, low pass with resonance, and then all of that goes into an effect. Then all of that can go into a chorus and reverb, each with their own send levels. So the power is incredible. But where this thing really rocks is we've also got a drawbar organ mode. So you've got 9 drawbars, each of those with the 9 true steps. Okay, and you can trigger the Leslie with foot or with the buttons, and then that's just yet another mode. Then we have PCM mode that lets you directly access all of your piano strings, horns, drum kits. There's lots of those. There's actually 700 different PCM instruments in here, so lots to choose from. In the solo synth, you have 1,500 different waveforms from all of the famous synth manufacturers throughout history, and tremendous amount of power there. The next thing about this that makes this a live performance device is that we have something called a step sequencer, and what you can do is, unlike something where you just hit a button and you get a 2-measure groove that you play over and over and doesn't go anywhere, what this lets you do is actually use buttons to turn each of the parts on, but then use the sliders to choose note values for everything. You could choose different hi-hats per beat, and every single part, whether it's a kick part, snare, hats, bass, chords, leads, they can all have their own individual unit of the beats. So each of the loops run independently so that you can have overlapping loops that don't line up immediately. So you can get some really exciting things. So I'll just do a real quick little thing here where I'll put some kicks in. And it's easy as just pushing in a button. I can throw snares in, again, just as fast as I can hit buttons, hats. But then I can go in and actually change what notes the hats are in real time. And I can store up to 8 of these things. I can even turn on bass lines. But I can choose the notes, and I can change the notes in real time. And the cool thing is, you get to pick a scale for each of these parts. So you can either do chromatic, all notes from 0 to 127, or specific notes within certain scales, so that as you're moving the sliders, you can't hit a wrong note. Everything's going to be in the key. After you get your groove going, then a single button push, and now your first octave will dictate key changes. So in real time now, you're taking this whole thing and changing its key, and you can always play live over the top of it. There's also 100 arpeggiations. You can also do user arpeggiations. And then there's a real-time phrase sequencer that you can record for every performance, where you can record a part and you can either call it up by pushing a button or pushing a key. So obviously, I mean, there's just a tremendous amount of stuff in this. And the retail is $699, street of $499, which is unbelievable. It weighs 11 pounds, can run on batteries. In fact, we've had these batteries in since November and they haven't run out yet. And 11 pounds. And then we got this cool little, get that back in there. We got this cool little rubberized thing here. This will hold your iPad, your iPhone, any of your MP3 devices. And that's important because we have stereo audio ins that'll pass straight through. We've also got mic in and instrument in. And the instrument ins can go through the effects, through the filter, through the multi-mode filters. So you can do real-time sweeping. In a performance mode, we take all of this power and let you have 4 more layers. So you can have a solo synth or a hex layer or an organ on top, then 4 more PCM or 3 more PCM layers underneath that for drums and chords and bass and everything else. Each of those, once again, can have full range or any range you want of key number and velocity numbers. So you can make really complex performances you can play. Each of those zones can transmit to an internal sound or out of the MIDI port or out of the USB port or any combination. So you can be simultaneously running plugins, running your external analog synths, and running this, and taking some of that audio, bringing it in real time. And again, all of that for a street of $499. The next one over here, this is the XW-G1, and it's a very similar synth to this. It uses the same engine. The biggest difference is that we have 19 seconds of sample looping, and you can overdub indefinitely on the looping. You can also bring WAV files in. It has, both of these have SD card inputs, and you can have 50 of your own instrument samples in here as well, and it's all in flash, so you turn it off, turn it on, all of your samples are still there. This is $699 retail, and that's $799 retail. Street is $499 and $599. This will be out this April, and this will be out, this will be out this March, and this will be coming out in April.